Researchers all around the world are putting their minds together to figure out how the brain of an insomniac works. They continue to look towards the features of all the brain waves and how the thoughts interact during the day and night. How the mind works during every hour of the day. The mind is able to adapt itself to any new situation. Whether you're trying to get food, get a drink, get out of the car, walking through a door, or just get some rest, the mind will constantly try to find new ways to survive and flourish. It will continue through the cycle of getting enough resources during the day and have enough energy to heal and rest during the night. 18 Normally, people with a healthy level of brainwaves with satisfactory cognitive stability during the day are able to shut down parts of the brain's thought process during the night. As night falls deeper, the brain will begin to slow down and initiate sleep. Your alertness and focus typically decrease when it's nighttime. This is the reason why a person finds it harder to complete any tasks at night. Studies show that the process of the mind will naturally change throughout the day, and sometimes it will cause a major form of anxiety. It is when the brainwaves become erratic and refuse to slow down due to an immense amount of stress during the day. Therefore, the mind will not be able to relax completely at night. Instead, it will go through a period where the brainwaves will move unusually fast, causing more thoughts and consuming more energy in the evening. Everything that a person has been through during the day will be recollected at night. The body will then run through twice the amount of energy and resources to process the thoughts, and this causes fatigue and lack of energy the following day. 19 The mind and the brainwaves. As for the mind and how the brainwaves respond to the phases of insomnia, there are 3 different studies to show how the brain reacts during the night. It has proven that the brain's learning and memory processing functions affect a person's sleep. The more you learn during the day, the more thoughts and memories will be processed by the brain during the night. Dreams come from one's thoughts and real-life experiences. The more you experience in life, the more you dream at night. The ability to have a larger variety of dreams allows the mind to calm down and form vague images to reinforce your memory. When you fall into deep slumber, you tend to be in the dream state. Sometimes, you might even have nightmares. But it all boils down to your subconscious thoughts and the kind of experience you had. Day versus night. So what's happening in the brain of insomniacs? Firstly, their brain is more active during the night and has difficulty in getting to the calm and relaxed state. In one of the studies on the brainwaves during insomnia, scientists have proven that the neurons of the insomniac's brain are more active at night. Insomniacs tend to have a lot of thoughts going through their head, which results in insomnia. They're experiencing a constant state of information processing throughout the entire day without the ability to put a stop to it. Ultimately, they'll have insomnia and face the consequences of not having enough rest. Experts claim that insomnia should not be seen directly as a nighttime disorder. In fact, it's more of a 24-hour brain condition that causes the brain to remain active throughout the day. 21 Sleep plays a major role in processing and storing memories. The lack of sleep will interfere with your memory in the long run. You'll have trouble concentrating, remembering facts, and even minor details. This theory was tested out with a group of students on a short test. One group had a full night's sleep whereas another group didn't have any sleep the night before. The results? Students who had more sleep were able to focus more, and they were able to recall their answers of the test a few hours later. The group of students who didn't have enough sleep struggled with the test, scored below average, and hardly recalled the answers they wrote an hour after the test. The myths. The objective of this examination is to demonstrate the significance of rest to an individual's concentration and memory. Indeed, sleep-deprived people can't have a similar degree of focus as the individuals who had enough rest. Shockingly, a few people accept that they can have a similar ability to focus during the day. Because the mind is as dynamic around evening time, all things considered during the day, it doesn't mean that the mind can work at the pinnacle level. Other than the absence of focus. Explore shows that sleep-deprived person has more mind pliancy. Be that as it may, the inquire about on what pliancy is and how it adds to the conditions of a sleeping disorder is yet obscure. Be that as it may, what they do know is that the pliancy of the cerebrum develops all through an individual's life, and adds to different types of ailment later on. Mind versatility is the capacity of the cerebrum to change fundamentally and practically in light of physical or natural factor. Much of the time, mind pliancy empowers us to retain new data, learn new things, and keep on developing all through. 23. Adulthood. Be that as it may, in case of sleep deprivation, it harms your cerebrum cells and prompts cerebrum versatility. This prompts poor memory, maintenance and absence of core interest. In a transient premise, however, in the long haul also. It is additionally testing to clutch all the levels of fixation and memory when an individual becomes more seasoned. The brain of the restless mind. Another exploration was never really out how pressure and uneasiness influence rest. The objective was to decide if an individual with a upsetting way of life has sleep deprivation, and how the cerebrum reacts at night. Furthermore, here's the outcome: the psychological capacity of the cerebrum doesn't change notwithstanding they have sleep deprivation, or not. Notwithstanding. Light sleepers think that it's all the more testing to center and procedure data for the duration of the day. Most research shows that the brain of light sleepers meanders during the night. They will experience issues focusing the following day. They'll face difficulties in dealing with their work, considers, and indeed, even their own lives. At the end of the day, the psyche will think that it's hard to work. Ideally, the following day, and sleep-deprived people can't perform at their best. Another piece of the exploration thought about the memory. 24. Work and the proficiency to finish any assignments given to light sleepers and to the individuals who had enough rest. Studies showed that light sleepers can't remember the greater part of their recollections during the day. Therefore, they face trouble in finishing their everyday undertakings. Their brains would meander even at the point when they're performing straightforward undertakings. For instance, when it comes to getting ready breakfast, those with a sound measure of rest will go to the kitchen, settle on speedy decisions, and start their day. Then again, those who are experiencing a sleeping disorder will enter the kitchen, wind up opening more cupboards, looking through similar nourishments, and unfit to make sense of what they ought to have for breakfast. 25. What's more, here's the clarification: a sleep-deprived person's brainwaves are more slow, and this will make that person move at a more slow pace. What's more, overlook basic things rapidly. Moreover, as they go on during that time, and as more undertakings come their direction, the prefrontal cortex will start to have less assets, and the brainwaves will become whimsical. The mind will attempt to remain dynamic, yet it won't have enough vitality to process everything. In this way, the cerebrum will exhaust itself inevitably in case you're experiencing sleep deprivation. 26. The gray matter. The third and last logical investigation is to decide the job of the cerebrum's dark issue. The most significant thing to think about the dark issue is that it exists in the frontal flap and controls the procedures of memory and official capacity. At the point when sleep-deprived people try not to get enough rest around evening time, they will have a considerable decline in dim issue. Regardless of whether they are experiencing a sleeping disorder or experiencing difficulty resting, by and large, they will begin to create side effects of melancholy or injury gradually. As a rule, the fundamental reason for sleep deprivation is pressure. The most ideal approach to determine this issue is to counsel a specialist to discover what sort of medication would be best for you. More or less, the psyche needs to increase enough rest and rest to have a satisfactory fixation. A sleeping disorder will just put your body into overdrive mode and consequently not be getting enough rest. The next significant thing to recall is to get enough nourishment and rest each night. Regardless of the fact that it is so hard to track down a parity, it is critical to have an elevated level of fixation consistently to take advantage of your day 15.